We are live, coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host Trevor, and tonight we are joined by Andy. Andy, how you doing tonight?
What up? What up?
We're also joined by Alex. Alex, how are you doing tonight?
Yo, yo, yo.
And we are here. It is time. Episode 8 recap show. Are we at the halfway point? I feel like we're at the halfway point. Didn't get that mid-season trailer, but as Ice Cube once said, are we there yet?
I think
I
maybe
think it was
one
a
episode.
skit.
Whoa. One person at a time.
Go ahead.
I think we're about one episode away.
God. Did you look at like the MTV schedule?
Not yet.
Whoa, kind of sketch. But we're here, episode 8 recap show. This episode was very, I'm very curious how you guys are going to think about this because I was not a huge fan of the Daily. Like, I think they butchered that completely. Like, it could have been 10 times better, King of the Hill style. And the elimination was very Maso Menos. But I don't know. Andy, what were your thoughts?
I very much enjoyed this episode.
Oh, interesting.
So I think both the daily and elimination were much better on paper than what we saw, but it was still entertaining in my mind. Like, this was just a headbanger of an episode. And we haven't really gotten that much head banging. So it was nice to just, inject it into my veins. It was a lot. I think it could have been a better end product. I think if they changed some rules here and there for both the daily and elimination, it would have been great. But in my opinion, this wasn't a swing and a miss. It was a swing for the fences, hits off the fence, and you get a double. Sign me up. I take that any day of the week.
Yeah, on a 200-foot fence. Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode tonight. I think we talked last week about how I think we had 2 episodes in a row that were kind of dipping, weren't as great as the first however many we had. And I think this episode, I don't think this was like the best episode of the season or even as good as like a couple of those early ones that we had. But I think it got us going in the right direction again. I think it got us closer to the tracks, if not all the way on. I think it was a fun episode. I think there was definitely some stuff with the daily and the elimination that were not great, but they were also like still fun to watch. And there was a lot of like drama with the deliberation and all of that. And I just feel like this was a slight uptick from the past couple episodes we've had.
Yeah, I would agree with mostly everything you guys said. My biggest issue was just you have 2 really good ideas, and you should execute that perfectly. And I just feel like it wasn't executed great at all. So I just wanted more. Like, I mean, in all seriousness, and I know Alex loves puzzles. When's the next time we're not going to get a puzzle during this during an episode? It might be next season. And it's like when you have that moment, I feel like you got to hit it out of the park. And to Andy's point, we hit the fence.
But again, I think that's still pretty good. And I think I think we're back to the standard of Battle of the Eras, if that makes sense. Because we've had a very good run. We had a couple dips. I do think we're back. This was one of those episodes where I didn't once look at the time or think, when is this going to be over? How much time do we have left? I was just locked in.
You were just teasing.
Yeah, and it is episode 8. Like, we're not in like the very end of the season. We're not at the beginning. Like, you're gonna have like some episodes that you kind of forget about later on. And I'm not saying this is one of them, but like we are on the 8th episode. Like they aren't always going to be A pluses, but I feel like it was solid, and I do feel like just talking about the season as a whole now, like there's going to be a change in the next few episodes where they're changing the format in like a pretty big way. And we don't know how it's going to go. We don't know if we're going to like it or not, but like, at least until then, we just need like solid episodes. So that's going to give us a spark. There's the soda can. And so we just got to be like ready for that. And I think like tonight was a good step in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, let's just dive right in. And the best way to dive right into tonight's episode is at the start with Andy's streak.
Yep.
As a wise man once said, you can put on the board. Yeah. Yeah. So
Streak's live. Streak's hot. And the good news about my streak being hot is Alex's streak of my streak is also hot.
I mean, we're just hot already. Some might say the heat is rising. Call it Albertino RTN. All right. After that, we got some classic foreshadowing between where the line in the sand has been drawn. So we have era 1 and 4, era 2 and 3. We kind of know where the alliance, the fake alliance, the real alliance, whatever you want to call it, the Andy and Javi alliance, however you want to phrase it, being fake, like 1, 4, 2, 3. So what do we think about these alliances? Does it even make sense?
I like to call it the alliances of 5. 1 + 4 = 5. 3 + 2 also equals 5.
Come on.
So I think they didn't really have a choice. It just seems like so much paranoia. And there's like alliances within alliances, like for 2 and 3, but then 3 and 4. 4 and 2 seem to not have any ties. 4 doesn't trust 3 because they're tied to 2. So then the de facto alliance of 5 became 4 and 1, which I don't understand what 4 gets out of that, because even before the elimination, there was only 2 people. So it just seemed like a lot of paranoia, a lot of people run around not knowing what to do. And a lot of different, again, like if you look at Era 4 and you look at like Theo and Jenny, they're aligned. Like they don't give 2 shits about what the rest of the people on their team, who they're tied to, because Theo and Jenny are hung out to dry on their own team. So it might as well be, let's go make a deal with somebody else.
I don't want to get too far ahead, but the whole Jenny and who is her partner? Why am I blanking? Shit, who was it?
Theo,
yeah. Jenny and Theo, that play was perfect that they did. Like, seriously, throwing the team under the bus, even though, like, everybody knew, but Corey's so stupid. He blew that shit up. That was a beautiful play.
And then it came back to Josh, and he's also an idiot. So it was perfect.
It's perfect. Anything else, Alex? You were a little quiet there. Anything you want to talk about there?
I mean, I just feel like in this, the pre-challenged scheming, deliberation, all that, they all kind of put a lot of stock into episode 3. They put a lot of stock into the Derek and Avery friendship. They basically said, like, these 2 are both targets. We know that they are, whatever happens, they're going to have each other's back over us. And that led to this little, like, mini kind of era 1 versus era 1 and 4 alliance. And I think kind of the theme of the episode was Kara, I think, was the one that said it best, maybe in the deliberation. Like, it was kind of like the Misfits episode. Everybody that was a target, everybody that was kind of in charge or like begging for their life was on the outside of their own era. You didn't have the Devins, Caseys, Torreys of the world like in charge. You had people like Avery and Jenny, who's been getting screwed over by her era. Corey's been getting screwed by his era. Era 1's just a fucking mess anyway. Derek from era 2 like hasn't really been involved. Like, it was just a lot of like people who aren't necessarily or haven't been like the shot callers this season. And that, I think, was what I think made the episode fun to watch.
Great points. Let's dive into the challenge. What did we think of not just the challenge, but Gladiator 2 being the movie of the season? What are our thoughts? Is it R.I.P. Puss in Boots?
No. Puss has 9 lives. This might have been 1 life gone. I think Top Gun was another life gone. Puss still has 7 lives. I liked it primarily because I guess 2 reasons. One, they clearly made that the theme for the daily and elimination, which led to headbangers. Sign me up. And 2, I think it just appeals to people like Corey and especially like Derek, where they hear we're all gladiators. And the next thing you know, it cuts to Derek and he's like, I'm a gladiator. I'm a gladiator. Like, this is what I'm doing this for honor. I'm doing this for my family.
Wait.
Gladiator.
Andy, can you do that one more time for us from the start, please? Right here.
You know, you got Derek, who's TJ says, you're all gladiators. And then Derek's like, you know what? I am a gladiator. I am a gladiator. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my kid. He's awesome. Oh, Andy's awesome. I'm a gladiator. That's why I'm here. That's why we're here to fight. For honor, for family. Just like, who do you think you are?
I mean, that might be a late entry for MVP. That was just out of control. But yeah, I mean, the challenge maniac himself. I mean, just a psychopath. Alex, your thoughts?
Did we have a stir the prop, or maybe it was an honorable mention about challenge sponsorships?
I think we did.
And it was just, does it happen or not, right?
Yes.
So that's it?
You can.
Back her off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Had anybody heard of Gladiator 2?
Yes.
Okay, I had not.
It looks good.
Well, you're not a big movie guy, so.
I'm not a Denzel
Trev,
guy.
one time I watched 300 movies in 365 days and then ranked them all. It was pretty epic.
Didn't you watch 300 for your 300th movie?
Of course.
God, I mean, that's very Derek-esque. Spartans! Whoo! I'm surprised he didn't do that. Like, I know you guys, I know Andy, you've seen 300, but you know where they kind of like become like a shield together and just like, yeah, they're like moving together and stuff. Like, why didn't they do that?
Great. Well, because it's not 300, it's Gladiator.
Oh, come on. But let me ask you guys this. Do you guys think, rank these movies from 1 to 3? Gladiator 2, Top Gun Maverick, and Puss in Boots. I think we can all agree this is probably the worst. I think we have to go Puss in Boots 1, Top Gun Maverick with the sunglasses and the hats and everything like that 2, and 3 is got to be like, all they did was show a trailer and did like they should have dressed him up at least.
We had Puss on our screen running around all nimbly bimbly. The higher level guys will get that one for a cat.
Alex, your thoughts on those rankings?
They were, I mean, I agree. They were showing like cast photos with their cats.
Yes.
Like during Puss in Boots. And we really just got, like what Andy said, all we got from the cast in terms of Gladiator was Derek and Corey and the rest of those clowns just saying, yeah, let's go. Like, that was it.
Yes. It's like, I've always thought of myself. It's kind of like, I'm just a big fan of justice. It's kind of like, I'm just a gladiator. It's like, what are you talking about?
My favorite colors, red, white, and blue.
My favorite era back in the day, Roman Empire.
All right. So, the challenge itself was basically good old King of the Hill. I don't know about you guys, but it kind of gave me Mario Party. Honestly, I really think they're just stealing every single Mario Party game and throwing it in this season. Like, I can't make this up.
Do you think at one point in time they're going to get out like some go-karts and give them all like bananas and some shells? I agree with you, Trev. This was Mario Party E. I do think that what could have made this better, and I think this is an aspect of the Mario Party version of this, is it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Now in Mario Party, it just, falls off into the water. You don't have to really make it. But I think there could have been a scenario where they push them together in a smaller platform, and that would have been how you make this or daily top notch in my mind.
But let me ask you this. Has the challenge ever done anything on platforms above water that we could have just done it that way? Throwing it out there. Alex, your thoughts?
I don't like how they did it with such lopsided teams. And that's not even from a standpoint of like, era one. Like there's other things you can do to where maybe a team with less people is at a disadvantage, but like still has a shot. This one, especially with the rules where it was just like number of people left on your team, Derek starts out with 1. I know he can probably count that high, but he starts out with 1. The other teams start out with like 4 or 3 basically across the board. Same thing for for the girls' heat. And like there's just no way you can beat that. For Derek to win, he would have had to get it to tie. He would have to get out like 8 people or something. Like that's just insane. It's stupid. And I like the daily. I like the idea of it, but I think doing it at a time like this, it doesn't make any sense. And I also it was a good daily. It was physical and everything, but it is kind of like, I don't like seeing a daily where at the end of it, everybody is so bruised and battered and they have like all these scars and band-aids, but it like, you don't really see a lot of it because they're just kind of on the ground and there's these big shields. And it's like, it's not like a hall brawl where you're going just like body to body, head to head, or like a balls in or something like that. Like, I don't know. It's just like a weird thing where you just like get like physically abused for not a lot of entertainment. I feel like this just could have been a lot better.
I think they should have done like 3 rounds of it, is my opinion. So like Derek would have to go in and Rachel would have to go in 3 times, but you're nominating because all the other teams had 3 males and 3 females, correct? There's nobody else below that, right?
Nobody below 3.
So 3's the max. So they would have to go each time, but it's like essentially round by round. Like they got to go, work their way up. I think it should have done something like that. And then, at the end, if 2 teams would have won 2 heats, then you do like a final 1v1 or something like that. And to Andy's point earlier, make the area smaller. And it's funny how I thought the daily in the elimination should have just flip-flopped. Like the areas were too small for the elimination and it was too big for the daily. Like all you had to do was reverse that. So, but chat, what do you guys think? I see Tommy Tsunami in the chat. I see Mikey the Doctor, Ryan McCord. Let us know what you guys thought while we bring up the big 3. There we go. I like that. Go ahead, Andy.
I did call this out last episode. My LVP was format because the format of the season screwed up last episode. It screwed up this episode. Now we've got one person representing an entire era.
Spoilers.
You have to this is too late to make a change. Like once it got down to maybe 2 episodes ago, era 1 was fucked based on how this format was. Like there's nothing, even like for an elimination or a daily like this, there's nothing they really could have done to make it 100% fair across the board.
Mm-hmm. Well, and let's get back to this. How are they going to change this game? Like, it's so stupid, but
we'll get
into that. But so the guys' heat, like we said, the weird thing too is they didn't even announce who won at the end of the heat. Like they didn't say like Era 3 won this round. So we just kind of saw, a certain amount of people left and it was like, okay. And then the females went. And then for that, I mean, even like, was there really anything besides the little Corey Derek blow up at the end? But was there any real, I mean, Banana slipped in the water. It looked like he just kind of very Mario Party-esque when you're trying to hit somebody and just misses them and then you go too far and then you get like bumped.
He actually slipped on a banana.
Come on. So you had him do that. Jordan got banged up pretty good in the male heat. Female heat, I cannot believe you have Cara and Laurel, and you're literally targeting like Tori or someone, and you can't knock her out. Like Laurel's big. Like I don't feel like that would be that hard. But anything else before we get into the Derek Corey stuff between the heats? Nothing. Pretty basic.
There just wasn't a lot.
I do want to bring up one thing. What the fuck was up with Theo getting DQ'd for not standing up?
That was weird.
Like, it's like he was I mean, there were 7 people on him. Like, what was he supposed to do?
Great question.
I mean, they specifically showed Jordan earlier in that same heat, like
On the ground.
unable to get up, and it seemed like it was almost identical to what Theo went through, and TJ blew the horn on Theo.
To be honest,
Honestly,
some are saying that I was going to bring up something else, but we'll save that for the end. So then we get the heat's over, and we're like, so who won? And we still don't know. And then we get a nice little blow up between Derek and Corey over nothing. Like, what was the point of the blow up? Like, Corey's like, oh, I could have knocked you out, blah, blah, blah. I'm on one leg, bitch. Like, what was he trying to say?
Corey said, I showed you mercy. I literally thought he was a gladiator. I'm not kidding. These guys are idiots.
These are on this cast right now going into the daily. Are these the 2 dumbest guys?
Yes,
100%.
And they're fighting, which just makes it that much funnier. Because like if you were to stop either one of them like mid fight and just be like, hey, pause. What are you mad about? What are you fighting about? They literally wouldn't be able to like articulate an answer, but they're just so stupid that they have to go at it.
Exactly.
Yes. So dumb.
A little life jacket throw was kind of smirk too.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the chat. Tommy Tsunami says they just wanted a reason to DQ someone. They tried to save Era 1 by DQing. I actually like that by Tommy. I do like that. They were trying not to, and I think this is my theory of they don't know what the eliminations are, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but they knew Rachel would beat the shit out of Avery because she's a black belt or whatever, so they made up this little ring. They just, probably the night before the elimination, they're just hammering in the ring, just like, all right, here we go. But I do like that theory.
Was there even a real need for life jackets? Wasn't the water like 2 or 3 feet?
You could literally stand. It was up to their knee.
I mean, the life jacket throw, it makes you think that they were like diving into water, jumping off a platform raised above water. It just wasn't at all.
Yes, I do kind of bulge at the life jacket. It kind of gave me vibes of Dirty 30, the throw that we never saw. Alex, I know you know what I'm talking about.
The pillow.
The pillow, that's what it was.
Dario.
Can somebody please find that clip for us and tweet at us? Dario throwing the pillow at the whole, like it had like all the faces of the season. It just completely went down. I think during that podcast, we literally hyped that shit up for weeks saying, when is this happening? And they never aired it. Great moment.
Yeah, send that clip our way.
God. All right. So essentially, we then find out the winners and losers. So Era 1 finishing last, no surprise, because they only have one person each. And Era 4 picking up the win. So before the episode, we talked about how Era 1 and Era 4 were working together, and Era 2 and Era 3 were working together. How are they on the opposite sides? ...
Opposite sides of
the spectrum. Like Era 1 literally lost and Era 4 won and you're working together. Like, it's worst case scenario is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Because they only had one person.
I know. Well, get everybody else out.
They would have had it would have had to have been an all-time challenge moment for Derek to win his heat and Rachel to win her heat. It would have had to have been like the most incredible performance we've ever seen.
But it didn't need to be that. All they needed to do was get the other team, out. So they could have just stood there. Like, I don't know if you saw Derek in the beginning. Like, he was off on no man's land, like just doing whatever the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, but for Era 4, not only did they have zero chance, or sorry, Era 1, not only did they have zero chance at winning, for them to not get last, like they start out with 2 people. So you would have to get like Era 2 or something down to 1 person. Like, that's just not going to happen. So I think like, yeah, in both heats.
Yeah.
It's just like, I do think.
But Era 2 is pretty easy to get out for the males. I mean, did they get everybody? The only person they didn't get out was
Niedermeyer,
and I guess there's 2. And Ryan got out, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Bananas got out.
They had 4 guys.
Whatever.
So that means they would have to get rid of 75% of their team.
Nehemiah was on this episode?
We'll get into that.
Like, but to your question, I do think Theo made a smart decision before the challenge, like siding with Derek, because he really had no choice. And like I said about the whole Derek and Avery thing, but once they show up to that daily and they see what it is, like Theo knows he's screwed because there's no way Derek can do anything besides get last in them.
No, I that's fair. That's fair. Andy, anything else from this?
Not really. I think we've covered it.
Sounds good. So like we said, Era 1 finished last, Era 4 wins. And then we go, there was really nothing in the house that kind of happened. And we kind of went straight into the deliberation room. And Theo and Jenny are the ones who are making the decision. And essentially, this whole meeting basically turned into Corey versus Derek, which I'm all about. And I just don't understand why Derek went that route.
I have an answer for you, and I think it's the right answer. It was kind of the Gladiators' move.
Oh, come on.
He felt like, and there's a lot of validity to this, and he said it. He said, I think my partner has a better chance against Avery than she does against Cara. I think that's very valid. And he was willing to take on a tougher opponent if it meant she could go on. I think that's real. And I think like someone like Derek, who doesn't actually think about the game or think about moves or what's smartest for him, he just still thinks he's a gladiator. And this was the honorable thing for him to do for Era 1, and he did it. And honestly, hats off to him. Like, it's a ballsy move. It didn't work, but it's kind of it's not necessarily a rookie mistake because he knew what he was doing. And he was also down to 1 leg. So he was probably thinking, I could go in against Cara and other Derek, and maybe Rachel loses, maybe I win, and then I come back and I'm alone on 1 leg. He might have thought that, but there's not a lot going on in Derek's head. It's kind of like just like a monkey banging cymbals together. So I think he just thought this is what, Russell Crowe would have done.
Unbelievable. Alex, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this deliberation was just kind of it started off like just kind of quiet. Nobody wanted to say anything. And then it turned into Derek bringing up or pulling Corey into it and saying, I want to go against you. And then it was just like the classic back and forth where Corey's like, you want to go against me? Just say it. Like, these guys are just like, these two are just the biggest idiots that we have on this show. And it's just so funny that like, there's another world where Corey and Derek are put in a situation where they become best friends or they become alliance members and they just like have each other's back. And then there's this other world that we had tonight where like Derek there was a life jacket at him and then he's like, I want to go against you and all this shit. And yeah, for Derek's sake, he should have said he wanted Era 2 to go against other Derek. But he had enough honor to protect his female teammate and say, I would rather her go against the weaker opponent than me. And there really wasn't like for Theo and Ginny. Should we get into kind of the little fake Era 4 meeting and their strategy?
Yes. Go ahead, Alex.
So I feel like they leave the deliberation kind of leaning Era 3. And I feel like, tell me what you guys think, but Theo had some, connection with Kara. I don't think it was super strong. People forget in War of the Worlds 2, Theo was like Kara's main target. But he did have a connection with Kara, like above anybody else in that room. But I think more so than anything, it was just like a Theo and Ginny knowing that they're the outcasts on Era 4. They know Era 4 is butt buddies with Era 3. And they're like, let's just do anything we can to piss Era 4 off. Like, we're not protecting them. We're not protecting their friends or their eras or anything like that. So let's vote in Era 3. So they kind of leave the deliberation leaning Era 3. And they have this little team meeting where they're like, all right, we know we're voting Era 3 no matter what. Let's try to like bring in our whole team, see what they think, and then eventually place the blame on them anyway. And they do that and they take a vote and it ends up being 5-2 in favor of voting in Era 3. And then they kind of use that as like a guise for voting in Era 3 over Era 2. So I thought it was a smart strategy. I was kind of surprised that the vote was 5-2. Like the only two people supporting Era 3 were Kylan and Michelle.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of drama with Josh and Casey kind of playing the middle. But who would the other votes be then? If it's
the 5?
Yeah, who are the 5 that said let's vote in Era 3? Theo, Ginny, Josh, Casey,
yeah,
and Olivia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Olivia's kind of middle-y.
But to everybody's point, if Josh and Casey actually said something, they could have flipped that vote.
Oh, yeah. It would be 4-3.
Correct. So to Corey's point, all he had to say was, and what he did say was, 5-2 is the vote. Is that right or wrong? It was 100% right. The math isn't adding up. So you and Casey didn't vote against me, or you voted against me.
And that, like, Corey getting so mad at Josh because of that is exactly what Theo wanted.
Exactly. He played his card perfectly. And now the domino effect in the house, Tori's now pissed off. Devin is kind of Maso Menos, very sketch. Like, everybody's very, what the fuck is happening? So I think the game might shift now to everybody versus Era 4 now.
It might.
Which should have been from the start.
There's just they were too like blinded by all the commotion, but like Josh said a couple times, like, I am your friend, like I am your guy. And like Corey just could have easily said, then why did you vote for me? Like, not even why didn't you stick up for me? Because Josh was like, well, we wouldn't have been able to swing it. Bullshit. It went from 5-2. It would have been 4-3. Boom, done, over. And it's not even like he didn't have to persuade anyone. Like Josh was like, I wouldn't have been able to persuade this person. It's like, you didn't have to.
Correct.
You and Casey just had to vote to send in Derek and Kara.
And at the end of the day, that vote is your vote on your team. And I think Alex said earlier, like, what they should have done is just vote that way because it is a gladiator move. And that's what they should have done.
It is a gladiator move.
To stick up for your team, your alliance. And clearly, they don't have an alliance.
for honor,
for glory.
for the challenge.
So yeah, I mean, so that happens. This whole blow up. I'm a little disappointed. I have to check the tapes again. Did Josh cry or not? I feel like they cut away too quick. Like, I feel like if they would have given us maybe like the unrated cuts, maybe during the reunion show where we get a few extra clips, we might have seen a little tear on his eye.
He was definitely tearing up at minimum.
It was close, but I don't think we got it on our screens tonight. So I don't think we can chalk it up on the cry bets, but we're close.
And you know what? Aside from the heat of the moment, that night, him and Casey were up, having a glass of white wine, talking about what happened in the day. And Josh was just like, I just don't know. He's such a good friend. I don't know why he thinks I'm coming after him. That happened.
What was he doing?
What?
What was he doing?
I just told you.
God.
Why does it feel like every 90% of the Josh cries or the Josh cry moments are always him talking to someone that he says is a friend, and this friend feels like they've been betrayed, and Josh feels like if he doesn't figure it out in this like drunken crying argument, that he's going to lose this friend forever.
Let me ask you this.
Josh's classic move. We see it every season.
Let me ask you this, Alex and Andy. How many people can you honestly say are friends with Josh? Casey? I think that's it.
Bananas.
Stop it.
I think it's Casey, and I think Casey kind of just honestly, I think Casey's a huge bitch. I just get that vibe from her. So like, even though they're friends, she just gives me bitch vibes.
Really?
Yeah.
I love
Casey. We got a lot of Casey tonight. I want her back to radar watch status.
I love tonight because Fezzi obviously wasn't here. I loved how we had the Casey and Corey moments tonight. Yeah, I used to play football back in my day. Like, the game's not even football. Like, what are we doing? So smart.
Someone did mention Fezzi tonight. I think it must have been Josh.
No, it was Corey. Corey said the only time you've had my back was because of Fezzi.
These guys are so stupid.
God, Fezzle. I mean, that little bitch from the University of Tennessee, he is just the absolute worst. Didn't he chirp Andy one time or something?
Yes.
Do we have to go down?
I ran circles around that peanut brain.
How do you think you would have done against him tonight in this challenge?
He would have been in what? The boxing, or either way, I would have smoked him.
Well, remember he did a boxing event, right? I'm not crazy, right?
I think he did.
Yeah, I think we watched him, right?
Did he also do a 3-on-3 basketball thing?
I can't confirm that. Chattanooga. But too easy. But yeah, the boxing he definitely did. I'm almost positive. And Casey boxed.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, right?
I think he also did some basketball thing where I think Josh was also playing in it.
Oh, come on. That's just not right.
Who would you say would be the best basketball player, past or present challenge?
Teresa.
Did CT beat her? Or did
Yeah, CT
Yeah.
won.
That's just classic CT.
God. Best basketball player? I mean, Teresa's got to be up there.
I mean,
that mid-range shot was bad. Oh,
yeah, she looked bad. CT did play college basketball. People forget that.
Yeah.
I mean, Theo's tall, but they don't play basketball over there.
What? Oh, England?
Yeah. I bet he's nice on the pitch.
God, is he? I heard people called him the next Theo Hernandez. All right, let's talk elimination. Era 1, Era 3, we had Rachel versus Avery. We had Derek versus Corey. This was a interesting elimination. Boxing ring. We have targets on people. I'm just kind of curious. What was your guys' thoughts of this elimination?
I thought it was okay. I feel like the concept of it I thought was okay. I think they actually did a good job like making it close and making it entertaining. And by they I mean like the actual challengers. I feel like the challenge does this every few seasons where they like to take one person and make them blindfolded, but then like there's some sort of noise aspect where they can um like hear the other person, and like it just usually never plays out to like a great elimination. Like it's a good like kind of wonky, out of the box type thing, but it's not something where like next week we want to see this again. And
Yeah.
again, the challengers did a good job, I think, making it close. It was entertaining, but just the concept, I'm not a fan of like, let's make this one person they can't see, but the other person has like a ton of noise around them. It's just kind of.
I feel like the typical elimination we would have seen in past seasons was the one where they're blindfolded with the stick.
Yes.
And they're blindfolded, they're swinging. That's always a classic one.
I had similar thoughts on this as I did the daily. Like, again, on paper, I think it sounds pretty cool, but I think the execution left some to be desired. I think if you make this ring like 1 foot bigger on each side, 2 maybe, that's all it takes to make this. Like Avery got fucking pummeled. And that was another thing I thought was another, I guess, just complaint of mine. If you went first, you were put at a big disadvantage in my mind.
Correct.
Like you really just got the shit beaten out of you, and now it's your turn. Like that just, I don't like that. That's because, again, both people who went first or who got hit first lost.
Yeah.
They were the underdogs going in beforehand, but still.
Mm-hmm.
Like Avery got almost beat to death.
I think whoever came up with this elimination on BME's side and put Avery in that ring tonight should be fired.
Jail.
Jail.
No, not fired. That's jail. That's a threat to society if you're willing to do that to someone like Avery. That's jail.
I mean, Avery is a dime. And the fact that you put her in the ring like that, so you think jail, Guantanamo Bay, Harold and Kumar?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I might agree with you.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. So, like, and this brings me back to my point earlier. They know that, what's her name? Rachel is a black belt. They know she boxes in a ton. I think they came up with this elimination before, like, just randomly. This could have been an elimination, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. But they're like, Rachel's going in. We want to save Era 1. Let's do this elimination. I like that theory. I really do. I don't think there's like next week we're going to have this elimination. I don't think they know what that elimination is until they know who's going in and they plan it around that. And that's bullshit.
I'm with you. And to that same point, we had no clue who had X amount of targets hit, especially like for Derek and Corey, where they just said, oh, you got all the targets.
Yeah.
Corey did it faster. What do you mean? They blew the air horn. What do you mean they did it faster? Blowing the air horn inherently means that there's one target remaining, at least.
I also think, too, and why me and Andy were pissed, too, is the ring was so small. I think that was to help Derek out because of his leg. So
does he have problems with his leg?
Okay, Alex, relax.
The targets on their body kind of reminded me of, I think it was X's 2. I guess it was actually Nia versus Avery, where they had like these little clips on them. Do you remember this? They had like, but not a lot, and it wasn't like 16. I think was the number tonight. It was maybe like 4 or 5. And like once you clip the very last one, they got like flung into the air.
Yeah.
Some on your back, someone like in front of you. I think they should have done something like that, like something that was easier to tell. Like they had these little like I don't even know, like these little like 2-inch like sacks of like red sand on them that if
Yeah.
you punched, then it like exploded. Like it was hard to follow. For the girls' side, the girls went first. I just feel like, I mean, Avery, when she was taking all those punches, she looked just helpless. Like she looked, this was exactly what you would expect from someone who just hasn't done that many seasons of the challenge and is also not in general that good at the challenge. Like you put someone who has experience in there, they'd be like, all right, I need to just like, I can't just fucking stand here and get pummeled. Like I need to get out of here. I need to move. I need to run around. And it was just like a classic, like it's anybody's game, but Rachel is better at the challenge in general than Avery.
Yeah. Talking about the guys' elimination now, Alex. I mean, just another one where, I mean, they're just swaying. And to Andy's point earlier, it's like, who the fuck won? Like, I actually think, I don't think we've ever said this before on the show. I really do think this was like the closest elimination of all time. I wish if TJ would have said that tonight, that would have been my MVP. I'm so pissed he didn't say that.
Yeah, but we just have no way to even tell. Like when TJ said you both got all your targets, like I didn't know if I should be surprised by that. I don't know if I should not be surprised by that. Like they both did good, it seemed like, but like there's just no way of telling like who did what. And then when they do the classic, you both got everything, so it comes down to time. And when it comes down to time, as production, we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Correct. So the challenge manipulating things. What else is new? So with that being said, Corey wins, Rachel wins, and then we get the vote in. So the first for era 4, we did reverse order this time for the first time. Kylan gets voted in and Casey gets voted in. Then we had Devin and Tori. Then we had Laurel and Ryan. And then I guess it's just Rachel. So going to be interesting to see if era 1, Rachel, just loses on purpose. What happens there? So we'll get into it. But
so I think the target selection, them going backwards, should have been done about 4 episodes ago.
mm-hmm.
I think it was made evident in the nomination where CT went first and self-nominated, and then everybody kind of backed off. I think Josh said he was going to nominate. He didn't. That should have been their sign where it's like, all right, clearly we had a plan for how all of these targets were going to work out, because maybe they didn't anticipate that many people like nominating themselves. Then it becomes clear that era 1 is at another disadvantage by having to nominate first every time. So let's maybe change up the order, reverse the order. And it only took them till episode 8 to realize that. And maybe the only reason they realized that was because era 1 is now basically gone. Like they could have, if they were thinking about it normally, they would have been like, all right, Rachel, Corey, you guys win, nominate your targets. Let's start at era 1. And then they're like, all right, we don't have to do era 1. So it's like, all right, should we start at era 1 or should we go maybe start at era 4 this time? So I think that was definitely a miss on their part.
Yeah, 100% agree. Anything else before we get into some segments? That's kind of the end of the episode. Don't think we're really forgetting anything. Let me look at the chat. I do like Derek and Corey you just put a times table up for 5 minutes and who can solve the most math multiplication. I do like that.
Who do you think wins that?
I would probably put my money on Derek in that, because if Corey can't solve 9 times 3, he can't times anything by 4, I feel like.
Yeah, what's 4 times 8?
Exactly. You would have no idea. So even if Derek got like 5, right?
That could probably do it.
Correct. So I would have to lean towards him. All right, segments. What do you got tonight, Alex?
All right, first one is This Day in Challenge History. It's just a quick one-off trivia question. October 9th, the season was War of the Worlds 2.
Fucking
Episode title was Zero Dark Turbo.
Oh, come on.
All right. So on this episode, who did Joss, not Joshua, Joss with 2 S's, beat in elimination?
Derek?
Carr?
Derek Carr.
I feel like it was someone decent. Is it like a reputable name?
It's a name we all recognize.
That season is not in my brain anymore.
Was that the season that Turbo was actually unbearable? Like his second season on?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
his first season on?
That was the walk.
This was that season where you can't copy his walk.
Oh my God.
The elimination
on this season or no?
No. The elimination was called Walloped. I think it was kind of like, I could be wrong. I think it was like a Hall Brawley-esque, but it was like you had to like go kind of zigzag, and then eventually you meet your opponent. I mean, the person that Joss beat was like lightning in a bottle for a couple seasons, but we can't really say his name anymore.
Bear?
Yes.
Mikey.
Yeah, Joss beat Bear 5 years ago.
God, I remember other people,
That wasn't the only thing.
not me, but other people say that Bear is just one of those what could have been challengers. Not me, but some people said that he was just perfectly made for the challenge. But, obviously did some very off-field things that are unforgivable. But other people say, like, what could have been.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Right, let's get into some radar watch.
But before we get into that, lightning in the bottle, people that we need to see more of. Did you guys see the Zach podcast with Tony Raines?
Yeah.
Great listen. You guys should go listen to that podcast. No free ads, but seriously, that's a great podcast. Go listen to that.
They're a friendly pod, like that we have commonality on. Not like those idiots over at Challenge Mafia or whatever it is. And then Bananas also shouted out his own pod saying it was the best challenge podcast available. No. Not on our watch, buddy. Not on, Bananas, love you. You're the GOAT. Not on our watch.
No, I think Tej said we were the best challenge podcast.
He did say that. That is confirmed.
Yeah.
Number one rated.
So what was that other podcast? Challenge Mafia? What was it?
Something like that.
That's like $500 a month, right?
You really don't even know the true name of it because you have to pay like $100 just to figure out what it's called.
It's like when some one of your friends thinks they're funny and they send like a invisible ink message and you're like sliding across. Like that's how I feel with going Patreon or whatever they're on these days.
They're idiots.
Didn't Derek believe Alton was reaching out to him?
We'll get into that.
You happy?
That's like a 10-year anniversary.
So that means it's time to run it back.
Alex, can you please send him a DM tonight? Hey, man, it's tough elimination tonight.
I'm glad you went out the honorable way.
You're a gladiator. Gladiator, if I ever seen one.
Oh.
All right.
What else you got?
All right. Are we still doing radar watch?
Yes, we're doing it till the rest of the year.
All right. What do we got?
I'm
going Nehemiah.
Bitch. I'm gonna go Naya.
I'm gonna go Olivia.
Ooh, that's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
Thank you.
Alex, that was a good pick.
I think we all had good picks.
We did.
I think so too.
Good pick, Trev.
Thank you. Mikey the Doctor, do we have a Stir the Prop update?
I think that's slated for next episode, we were saying.
That is exactly right.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
That's a good question, though.
I think that's coming during the Legends Tour CT. podcast, right?
No, we're saving Legends to our CT.
Okay.
We're gonna give here. How about this? We're gonna give an official, legit stir the prop update, the episode recap after we get the still to come on this season of the challenge.
Yes.
The very next one, we're doing it.
God. All right, MVP, LVP time. I don't even know why I say that because Mikey the Doctor's already in the chat giving us an order before I even say it. So
Right.
we'll just go right into it. Alex, you're the first pick. MVP. Who you got?
I don't feel good about this. I kind of feel dirty even giving this person an MVP. But I'm gonna go with Corey.
Ooh, I don't hate that.
How can you feel dirty? You two were just obsessed with them last week.
I'm fine with the pick.
I'm gonna go with Corey because I feel like this was just like you take what we think about Corey as a challenger, and this was exactly that. Like a guy who is like good enough to, do well in a daily, maybe win an elimination, and the whole time like talk a ton of shit. Like, and he's gonna say, Corey's always doing the thing where he's like, I'm done like playing around. Like I've played nice, and these guys aren't playing nice with me. So now we're gonna see who's playing dirty and like all of this stuff. He's been doing that since fucking his rookie season, and that's why I feel like this was like it made me mad while watching it. But I was like, you know what? I can't get too mad because like this is who Corey is. So like he's being his kind of true challenge, like caricature self, like, and he's like doing it pretty well. Like obviously he stayed in the game. He's still in the game going into next week. And like it's just like classic Corey, the way he behaved and acted, confessionals, all that shit tonight. So I'm gonna go MVP Corey tonight.
Good pick.
That's honestly kind of a great pick for that reasoning. Cause like 2 or 3 episodes ago, when Bananas like somehow got himself like out of the target and was somehow safe, and it was just like Bananas being Bananas, like just a Johnny Bananas specialty kind of episode. That's exactly what this was for Corey. I mean, mid-challenge of the daily, he was like pushing, and he literally stopped and beat his chest like that to like Theo or something. And then I was showing you mercy. Like it was just, this was the best episode Corey's going to have all season.
And then like during the elimination, maybe right before it started or like during it, one of his confessionals, he was like, I'm coming for Theo. I'm coming for Josh. I'm coming for Casey. Like he's always coming for people. He always has like a huge hit list of people that like he never, especially when he's not with fucking Nelson and Hunter and those clowns. Like he's just always coming. He's just always coming for people.
And then whenever he does get power, somehow someone like Bananas or someone tells him what to do, and he's like, his brain just malfunctions. He's like, all right, what am I doing?
Andy, what do you got?
I'm going to go my MVP's Gladiator 2.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
This was, I mean, it's no Puss in Boots. We all know that. But it obviously set the theme for the daily and elimination, both of which I thought were pretty solid. And it also sparked some, Corey beating his chest. I showed you mercy. And then Derek, doing the honorable thing of, I think this is the matchup for my teammate, so that's what I'm going to do. It set the tone for the whole episode. It really did.
That was my pick, so I'm pissed. Great pick.
Thank you.
My MVP tonight is going to be Stir the Pod. Now, let me go this route with you. We finally don't have to see another podcast running the show on the challenge. Derek Loser Kaczynski or whatever the fuck his name is. His ass is gone. We win tonight. The gladiator has fallen. Stir the Pod's happy. Positive vibes only. PBOs.
Bananas has a podcast.
Yeah, he doesn't care. His
I
is
agree.
free though. His is free. We don't give a shit.
I agree. Good pick. Very good pick.
It's a win for us tonight that we don't have to see that challenge maniac on our screens anymore. Like, he fucking sucks. If Scott Yeager ever joins the show as like a TJ Lavin-esque role, I will never record another podcast ever again if Derek brings him in. We'll never do a podcast ever again. You can quote me on that now. I'm sorry. I know we talk about no quitters. I'm quitting if that's the case.
I think if that happens, we have to do what the notorious Brady Four did during Deflategate, and we all have to go to the headquarters of Bunim Murray and sit in the lobby and demand to talk to whoever's in charge of the challenge.
Yeah. It was a win tonight for Stir the Pod that we don't have to see Derek's face ever again on this season. My MVP. My LVP tonight, and I'm going to take this because I think Andy might be trying to go this route, but there was only one real loser, and who would have just made our screen tonight amazing, and we didn't get him tonight. That my LVP is Puss in Boots.
God, that's too chalky. That's too chalky.
What do you mean, chalky? He is my LVP. This was a perfect opportunity. Puss in Boots 2. Rise of whatever fucking movie he's in now.
They're on like 7.
I have no idea. I wanted Puss in Boots. I don't even care. It could have been Gladiator 2. Throw Puss in Boots in a little gladiator costume, throwing it. Like, could you imagine if he's doing cartwheels on the screen and stuff? That's all I wanted. I mean, it breaks my heart that was the movie tonight. Even though Gladiator 2, good vibes. But
well, you know what's kind of a shame too is like, does he not look like a gladiator?
He looks more like a musketeer.
Yeah, but he's got a sword.
Oh, so that makes him a gladiator?
And he's honorable.
He's very. I mean, honestly, like, if we had Puss in Boots tonight, this episode would have gone from a 7.4 to 9.4 just like that. Like, seriously, what are we doing? Know your target audience. We don't want Russell Crowe and Gladiator. We want Antonio Banderas and Puss in Boots. That's all we want.
You know what's sad too is supposedly the next Puss in Boots is supposed to come out in 2024.
No, it's not. Stop. No, you're lying, Sarah. Give me a date now.
I don't know. It actually seems kind of interesting. Like it's called Puss in Boots. So there's already been 3, but then this one's called Puss in Boots 3. Puss in Boots 3, Blackbeard's Curse.
All right, first off, I'm searching Puss in Boots. Tell me why this comes up. Come on. Mike the Doctor, the day Mario partners up with the challenge will be like Stir the Pod will literally go crazy. We might not record.
Oh my God.
What?
Well, yeah, we if it was I mean, could you imagine? They all come out dressed up as characters.
Big Easy is Wario.
God.
Josh is the big square guy.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think we should do in the off season almost like a rewatchables of Puss in Boots Last Wish? I think we might have to.
Who says no?
I think we thought about doing that for CT's movie.
I mean, but not all of us have seen CT's movie.
But that movie was just god awful.
Oh, it was terrible.
Let me ask you this, and now I'm going all over the place, and I'm looking at Tommy Tsunami with Mario in the challenge.
Oh, now you're going all over the place. Okay.
What if the challenge final one season was a Mario Party board, and they're like rolling dice and doing shit? I mean, Dark Star, Dark.
All right. Is it Alex for LVP?
Yeah. No, it's you.
It's me?
Yes, it's you.
Okay. All right. Getting the train back on the tracks.
3. The Curse of Blackbeard. That's so fake.
I'm just saying. All right. My LVP pick for tonight's probably not one that you guys would think of. I'm going to go LVP Club.
Ooh.
Because 2 reasons. 1, we didn't get it. And 2, it definitely happened. So the blow up between Corey and Josh, Corey was getting ready to go out. It showed like Olivia walking into the room. She was wearing like a tight dress. Jenny was wearing, like, people were getting ready to go out. The tempers were at an all-time high. And then the next scene, they were going to the elimination. No. That doesn't slip under this nose. I saw what was happening. You went to the club. Tensions were high, and we didn't see a damn minute of it. That's unacceptable. I was so excited. It was like, oh, man, they're literally getting ready to go to the club. They're getting in each other's faces. This is going to be great. Straight to elimination.
That's a good pick. And I do feel like, for the most part, this season, like, we have gone out most episodes, and it's been not super entertaining, but at least something to talk about. And this episode, they just skipped right past it. Like, sometimes it's before the deliberation, sometimes it's right after. So when it wasn't right before, I was expecting it to be right after. I saw Olivia in the dress. I was expecting, the next 10 minutes of the episode to be that. And it just never happened. And I don't know if I'm guessing the elimination ended up taking longer of the episode than maybe usual. But yeah, I think that's a good pick because we didn't get that. And there was a lot of drama and fighting, just like the classic Josh Corey shit. And it would have been nice to kind of see some more, like the first, or I guess you said it was before they went out, right?
Yeah. As they were young. And that's the thing that makes me the most mad. It happened. They went out. Yeah. Like, it happened and we didn't get to see it. That's what makes me the most mad about it.
There was a blowout out at the club.
Correct. It's frustrating. It would have been a good one. They were looking bad.
God, they kind of sound bad. Peaches. Alex, what you got? Round out the night. LVP.
All right, my LVP. I don't think there's a lot of challengers to go with, just because so much of this episode I feel like revolved around Derek and Corey, like just 2 specific people. I already gave Corey my MVP. I could give it to Derek. I could give it to his leg. I could give it to Avery, but I'm gonna be sad not seeing Avery on TV anymore. So instead of giving it to Derek, I'm going to give it to a stupid fucking co-host. I'm going to give it to Scott, Sam, Sean. I'm going to give it to Yeager.
You're giving it to Sean Yeager? Is that your pick?
Yeah, that's my pick. I know he's gotten LVPs before. Because guess what? Now, Derek's gone. So, like, I'm sure I don't fucking listen to that show, but I'm sure if you're paying $400 an episode to listen, the past 2 months, it's probably been a lot of like Derek saying, this is what happened in the daily, this is what happened in the challenge and all of that. And now Derek's gone. So like from this point forward, I'm sure they're going to raise their prices from 500 to 1,000 an episode because they no longer have like the Derek insight to give. So I just think that guy is going to be in a world of hurt. So yeah, I mean, fuck him.
Yeah. Didn't see this one coming, but I like it.
God. I mean, I just wish Challenge Mafia was just a better pod. That's all I ask for.
And I agree. And I'll be honest, I did watching Derek's in tonight's episode. I mean, he almost won the elimination. But watching it, I was kind of like, I feel bad for Derek because I feel like I personally dislike him more than I should because he is an awesome challenger. He's a dog. He's that little engine that could. He has 3 rings. He wins a lot of eliminations. He won 2 this season, but it's just so hard to separate him from this little podcast that he's been a part of. I know they host some of their shows outside of Chicago, not in Chicago, and they charge all that money. And then if you listen, I mean, I challenge anybody, Tommy Tsunami, who thinks we're haters, go listen to that podcast, and you're just going to hear a lot of screaming from Jaeger, a lot of air horns, a lot of rambling, incoherent sentences, ads, ads for their Patreon. So if you like that stuff, go for it. But I'll just stop there. I know I've gone too far, but that's my LVP.
All I ask, if they can get me this data, I'll say I like Challenge Mania. I'm going to pull out 3 things. If they can get me the number of shirts they sold of this.
Oh my God.
So that is shirt number 1.
I'm looking at it now. All right, what's next?
If you can show me that, is this like nope? Like I can't finish a challenge? Like what is this?
Can you see like how much are they charging for that?
What's our guess? Price is Right style.
I would guess 25, like standard 25. T-shirt, a little too much, but it's
$27.98.
Oh, come on. You're over by 50 cents, Andy.
$27.48?
Well, it also depends. You want the regular edition, the classic edition, the extra soft, the tri-blend, or the performance one? The regular one is actually $27.29.
Who's paying for this shit?
My line. So I have those 2. So if they can get me that, and then the last one, let me find a good.
Yeah, we need to see the numbers on these. How many people are fucking buying these?
This is the one that I want to know the most.
Isn't there one with Amanda and she's like the devil or something? Is that it?
Can you guys get me how many people have? I can't even flip my phone around.
Oh my God.
I just want to know at the end of the day who's paying for this shit. I mean,
that's them.
I understand they like Mario Party, but like you can't just dress up in the costumes.
I actually hopped on to look at their shirts to see if they had a Gladiator shirt. Because tell me that's not spot on. I bet within 2 weeks we have a new Gladiator shirt.
Yeah, I'm sure they will after tonight's episode.
Yeah. It'll be like Derek's dumb face with the paint smattered, but it'll be in like, his Gladiator swag and his purple mustache.
Who's paying for this shit? That's all I got to ask.
Oh my God.
Who's paying for this shit?
Great question.
Any honorable mentions?
Honorable mention. Adam for this Harry Potter themed one. Honorable mention.
I had no honorable mentions.
Yeah, Adam Meadows. What else is new? I think he's got a piano recital. That's where he's at.
What do we think? Are we excited for next week?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I love doing these podcasts with you boys. I love the chat. Mikey the Doctor, Tommy Tsunami. They've been hot. Ryan McCord. I mean,
I also love the show. I think we're in a good spot. I do. I'm really looking forward to just getting Rachel out of here because I think that's going to spark what the next format looks like. Like we need the dominoes to start falling.
Yes, and I think we're close to that. I mean, next week we have 7 targets, not 8.
Yes.
So something's going to be different. They're going to have a lot of confessionals about, what does this mean for us? We're era 2. What does it mean that there's only 3 guys?
Correct.
So we'll see what the fuck happens.
You essentially have to win to not go in if you're a guy. That's just dumb. That's so dumb. That's no strategy. That's no game. That's just, oh, well, we were hoping this wasn't going to happen.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Don't forget the Redemption House. God, enough. Could you imagine the Redemption House?
Wait, didn't they say to the people who left that like they have to power rank people and then that's somehow going to factor in?
Yeah.
That hasn't been talked about in a couple episodes.
Honestly, radar watch that.
I don't hate that.
We'll get into that. But thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I've been your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at Stir_the_pod. Thank you guys. Love you guys.